Abduction and adduction are our next movement pair. Unlike flexion and extension, these movements, when performed from the anatomical position, are movements that occur in the frontal plane. You can almost think of them as sideways movements. Remember that the frontal plane is the plane that goes through us from left to right, dividing ourselves into front and back halves. There are less joints that perform abduction and adduction compared to flexion and extension. And this makes sense. We humans, well, we walk like humans, not like crabs. That means forwards. We also tend to interact with things that are directly in front of us, like when we're eating our food. But nevertheless, these movements are still very important. Sometimes you'll hear people saying abduction and adduction, because as I'm sure you will already have experienced, they sound quite similar. Abduction is movement away from the midline of the body, whereas adduction is movement toward the midline of the body. You can almost think of abduction as sideways movement away from the body, and then adduction as sideways movement toward the body. Once again, these are more or less the same movements. They're just occurring in the opposite direction. So abduction, movement away from the midline. Adduction, movement toward the midline. Abduction, adduction. At the hip, it looks very similar. Abduction, the foot moves laterally and superiorly away from the body. With adduction, the foot moves inferiorly and medially. In the hand, it's a little bit different. We don't use the midline of the entire body. We use the midline of just the hand itself. So with abduction, we have the fingers moving away from the midline of the hand. It looks like you're just spreading your fingers apart. With adduction, your fingers simply move toward the center. And don't forget, you can do this with just one finger as well.